This is Breakfast Daily on City TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, it's a Friday, so we're going to talk to our personality of the day. He's the Managing Director of SIC Insurance. He's a very big man, and we want to know just what his life was like growing up, what inspired him to be on this journey that he's on. Has he made any failures that we can all learn from, and what's next for him? I'm talking about Mr. Stephen Oduro. And of course, if you have any questions for him, let us know with the hashtag Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line 0550-585-832. Good morning.
Good morning, Dziffa. How are you?
Should I call you Mr. Oduro, or which one are you more comfortable with, or Kwame? Or
Kwame Oduro.
Kwame Oduro is better. You don't want the colonial?
It's more traditional.
Okay. What does it mean to be the Managing Director of SIC Insurance?
Oh, SIC is a very good company to work for. The job is challenging but very satisfying.
Okay.
You know, people start and complete their careers with SIC. This year, the average number of years for the people who are going to retirement is 33 years.
Wow.
So that tells you that it's an excellent company to work for. There are some few challenges, but they are not challenges that can bring down the company, not at all.
Okay.
And the SIC came to me to be better after my time.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. So let's backtrack now to your early days. Where did you grow up, and what was life like as a child?
I grew up in so many places.
Really?
Yeah. I started school at Efijuasi Catholic School. A lot of people don't know that. And then, as a matter of fact, I was raised by my grandmother. So that is, with all my siblings, we were raised by our grandmother.
Where were your parents?
My father was a policeman.
Okay.
And he was moving from one location to the other in the middle of the term. So my grandmother, in her own wisdom, said, no, if I allow my grandchildren to go through this kind of process, then there will be no continuity. Yeah. So I ended up in a Siakwa Presby school. So I was raised in a Presbyterian home. At some point, I went back to live with my parents at Abrodunkwa, and then my father, in the middle of the term, was transferred to Tema.
Wow.
So I went to Agri Road. At that time, I became a little bit truant.
Okay.
As every teenager would go through. So they brought me back to my hometown.
To be with your grandmother?
To be with my grandmother. And she was a disciplinarian.
Okay.
She never had a formal education, but she saw the goodness in education. So from there, I went to Oforipenny Secondary School.
What was it like, your first day of secondary school, if you can remember?
My first year, I was always afraid of my seniors.
Why?
I was in a boarding school.
Yeah, but you were troublesome, so...
The moment I set foot in Oforipenny, it's like putting cold water on me. So I had to
humble yourself,
obey everything, that my senior would tell me. And then from Form 2 going, then I started showing my true colors.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
So you became the senior that the juniors would be afraid of now.
Well, the Form 1s became my juniors. So as you went along, more juniors could come up to you. And I was very active.
Okay.
I was a chorister. I played hockey for the school.
Hockey?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was also a member of the head of state Awards scheme. By that time, we called it the Duke of Edinburgh Awards scheme. And I achieved the gold standard.
Wow. And
the awards, the gold medals were given to us by Prince Charles. At the castle at that time, General Kutu Achampong was the head of state.
What
and I have
year
the picture.
Was this? So that, the millennials can put it into perspective.
No, they gave it to me. I was in Upper
But that's a big deal.
It was a big deal. As a matter of fact, the first time I got to London, I had the medals, the bronze, the silver, and the gold. And they asked me, where did you get this from? And I told them I didn't steal them.
Aww.
I work for them.
Wow.
So it was in 1976. That was when we got the gold. We were 3 from our school.
Wow.
And Wesley Girls, Brig Girls, some other schools. A lot of schools were there. Then they changed the name to the Head of State Award Scheme. And it's still functioning, though.
Wow.
I heard it's still functioning.
But how did your years in high school shape who you became?
It's a matter of keeping your eye on the bigger picture. We had a headmaster who, he will look at you, your formative years, Form 1 to Form 3. And sometimes he'll call and advise you. I was a science student. But in sixth form, I changed.
Why did you change it?
I wanted to do computer science.
Why
at that
computer
time.
science?
Money.
Seriously?
Why not?
You can make a lot of money with science. You could be a researcher.
I know.
Get $1 million.
No, by that
funding.
time, I didn't know much about computer science. Okay. But I kept on reading about it.
This was late 70s.
This was in late 70s. Okay. So I decided to do mathematics, economics, and geography.
Wow.
At sixth form. So after that, before our results came, I had a job with the Cocoa Research Institute. And there was this senior research officer called Lockwood. He introduced me into computer science.
How? How did he do that?
Because at that time, the research he was doing, in fact, his research was a 3-year cocoa that we are using as of today.
Wow.
So whenever he came to Accra, he would take me along.
Wow.
There's a place opposite ACP. That's where they had the computers. And I became very much interested in it. No two ways about it. So
and computers were like a luxury back then, right? You
no,
can't just
I was fascinated by it. I was very fascinated by it. You put something in there, then you hear grrr, and then something comes out. And it was, I said, wait a minute. I want to be part of this profession.
Wow.
So I started applying to the, to the U.S. And then I got admission to Eastern Michigan University on scholarship.
Okay.
But at that time, you also need permission from the Scribe Secretariat. So I presented my papers, and they said they had embargoed going anywhere to do computer science because if you go, you won't come back.
Oh.
I mean, you can imagine. It's like a balloon that you put a pin on it and then, deflated me altogether. But I didn't give up. Then I changed my major to do medical technology, and they approved it.
Wow.
So the moment I got to the U.S., I changed it back to computer science.
How old were you at that time?
I think I was 20.
20 years?
Yeah.
Weren't you afraid that you're leaving Ghana to go to a different country?
It was a mission. Honestly, it was a mission. Okay, my mother had 8 children. So I was the second born to my mom. So I thought that if I'm able to make a headway, I become the role model for the others. And lo and behold, it's happened. Yeah, it's happened. In fact, my big brother passed away, through car accident. But the others are all in the U.S.
Wow.
We have a doctor in there, pharmacists, nurses, engineers. So I think I paved the way.
By showing them how it's done.
And also, for them to always look ahead. You see, if you think parochially, you have a problem. And I've seen this movie before because I've seen people who would travel and then with the least hardship, they deflate.
Yeah.
If anybody tells you that life in America is easy, tell them I say it's not easy.
What was your first year like in the U.S.? You're 20 years old. You're in this country.
Okay.
Did you go straight to school?
Yeah, straight to school. I was on campus. When I went to Eastern Michigan University, my first time going to the They call it dining commons. Here we call it dining hall. And I ordered. There was a Nigerian friend. He ordered, say, cold plate. My brother Nigerian ordered cold plate, so I think cold plate will be good for me. So I said, "What do you want?" I said, "Cold plate." My goodness, it was the saddest day of my life.
What did they bring you?
Cottage cheese and all. I'd never seen even.
And the Nigerian friend ate it all.
Oh yeah, he felt good about it. So the next day,
did you try to eat it, or you were like?
I didn't want to show them that I came from the village. Where we have one diet. Every evening, they pound the fufu. And the afternoon, God knows what it is.
You're eating cottage cheese.
Yeah, so, it was a miserable day. Then the next day, I saw rice and chicken. I said, oh,
that looks familiar.
This is my territory. And they asked me, what do you want? So many. So, give me rice and chicken. Then they gave me half of the full chicken. Half. And I made a cross sign. I'm in heaven. How can I have...
And it wasn't Christmas or anything.
No. How can I have half of a chicken all by myself? So I told my friend Kende, I said, Kende, he was a medical student. Every day, make sure they bring this type of... You see, then I transferred to New York City.
Okay, but let's stay in Michigan. Did you face any racial discrimination? Did you feel any different?
No, I didn't.
That you were African or you assimilated quite well?
No. If there was any discrimination that I faced was from my roommate who was from Iran.
Ah, okay.
Okay, and I never gave him an inch.
What did he do?
Oh, he thought an African guy. Somebody will call me on the phone and I'll start speaking Twi.
And talking.
He didn't understand it. He had a TV. He said, "I won't let you watch it."
Seriously?
And I said, "Take it out of the room." So at the end of the term, he requested to be changed.
Okay.
And then this time they brought a white guy. His father was a doctor. And the father was so nice, always wanted to invite me.
Wow.
When you're on campus, you see, it's a community.
Yeah.
It's a real community. And if you do well, even the white people will come to you, especially mathematics. How did you do this? Because they see the things you don't understand, probabilities and all those kind of things.
Let's move to New York now.
Yeah, then I moved to New York City. I transferred to
Baruch
College, which is part of the City University of New York. It was fantastic, But you have to also be tough to survive in New York.
So you were no longer on campus at Baruch?
No, this time I was no longer on campus.
So
I was renting my place and taking the bus and the train. Then you have to pick up a job, So if you go into school full-time, working full-time...
What job did you do?
A lot of them.
What was your first job as a student at Baruch?
My first job was like the Zoom Lion truck.
The cleaners?
Oh, yeah. I enjoyed it. Until my life was tempted, then I quit.
How was your life tempted?
In a train.
Okay.
People think only women could be raped. I was nearly raped by a man, a middle-aged man.
You are joking?
Yeah, that was the most difficult time in my life in the U.S.
How old were you? How did it...
Well, he tried to be friendly with me. And I saw him as an elderly person. We've been raised to respect your elderly guy. And then it was around 3 a.m.
Okay.
So anytime I got off, he got off. So on one of the platforms, there was nobody around. And the guy said, "Pull your pants down." Then, I wanted to beat him up.
Wow. Were you like in your early 20s?
Yes. I wanted to beat him up. But he had his hand in his pocket.
So you didn't know if
he didn't know whether he had a weapon. Then lo and behold, the next train came, so I got on it and he got on it.
Wow.
And that's okay, I'm going to work. Come with me. My boss likes me, and I'll tell him you are my brother, and then he will give me the permission to go wherever you want. That was what saved me.
3 a.m. I'm assuming there was nobody in the cart.
New York is the city that never sleeps.
So there were people on
There were
the
people all
train
over,
cart with
yeah.
you.
And so we got to the job place, and my boss saw that I was not myself. So I said, go and look at. There's a guy standing there, trying to do something to me. What the guy didn't know was my name. So this guy was an Italian. He went there. What are you doing here? He said, I'm waiting for my brother. I said, what's your brother's name? He didn't know. So he came back, picked out his pistol, and said, get out of here or I'll blow your brains out. Wow. The next day, I never went to work again.
Wow.
Yeah. So...
What impact did that have on you? Because, anytime you think about attempted rape, I became much more conscious about my surroundings. And also to be very resistant to somebody I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. In fact, even here, when I'm driving, I keep on looking at my surroundings to know who is where. There was somebody in my car, the person said, why do you keep on looking left, right, whatever? I said, I didn't know I was doing that. I thought I was still in New York City. But from there, I did security work. But when you are in school, don't worry about putting on the tie or whatever. Keep your eye on the ball.
What was the ball for you at that age?
To get my degree and get a good job. But lo and behold, second year, I got a job at an insurance company called John Orden Life Insurance Company. And I started there as a messenger.
Messenger?
Yes. That was when, after about 6 months, they decided to introduce computers. Okay. Those were the earlier...
This was like early 80s.
Yeah. That was about 81.
81, okay.
So that was about... they brought in the new PC. Only one color, green and black. So the vice president came to me. He said, Steve, we know you are in school doing computer science. We want to introduce this. Can you do it? I didn't think about it, and I said yes. So they said, okay, it's yours. So I burned the midnight oil.
You what?
I burned the midnight oil. Wow. It means I was working around the clock.
Around the clock.
So the first thing I designed was a billing system. They gave me a deadline, and I finished before the deadline. I got 3 promotions one day.
Wow.
For that. That was the beginning of my professional career.
So you jumped from messenger to...
Yes, I became a programmer.
Wow.
And it went on from John Orden Life Insurance Company. I've worked for a health institution. I ended up with a private bank called Brown Brothers Harriman.
And all of this was in New York?
Well, I moved from New York to New Jersey, which is just across the river.
When you made proper money to buy a house, I'm assuming?
No, when I moved to New Jersey, I rented for a while before I bought my house.
You bought your house in New Jersey.
Before I bought my house.
But early 80s, what was the surroundings like in New York? Were people struggling with drugs? What was going on at the time?
Not within the Ghanaian community. That a lot of my friends also joined. And all of us were going to school. And in fact, of today, I'm very proud of the achievements of my friends. In fact, we have accountants, we have doctors, we have lawyers. But one thing that was a common thread was that each person had a goal. And the goal was to achieve a certain level of profession. And about 99.9% of them did achieve it. They did achieve it. So we were always together. We were always together until I was the first that moved
Why did
to
you
New
make
Jersey.
that move?
I was thinking about getting married. And New Jersey was much quieter than New York.
Okay.
No, New York summertime, if you go to Times Square, midnight, it's like shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
Not only the New Yorkers, but tourists.
The tourists, everybody.
Yeah, if you've been there, you see what I'm talking about. So
marriage moved you to New Jersey. You wanted a more
I
calm
was thinking about
environment.
getting married at that time, so I moved to New Jersey.
How did that go? Who was the lucky woman?
She's still in the U.S.
Wait, were you heartbroken?
No.
Did she turn you down?
No.
So what happened? She
She's
said
still
yes?
there. She'll be, of course.
So why did you say you were thinking about getting married?
Well, you didn't know until the person says yes.
So you moved to New Jersey?
I moved to Jersey.
And then what happened?
Then when I was in Jersey, I worked for a health institution. To me, it was the lowest point of my career. Applications were not that great. I faced some racism there. And at some point, I decided to move on.
What happened exactly?
Oh, the guy didn't understand why I know something that he doesn't know.
And was he also from Iran? Or?
He was my director.
Okay, where was he from?
Oh, he's a white guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he was your director, but you knew more than him.
Yes. And we're butting heads all the time.
But shouldn't you respect him as your director?
I did respect him. I did respect him as my director. But in my life, I respect everybody. I'm a people's person. But if you disrespect me, I'll have a problem. Seriously, I have a problem. I might point it out to you, that you've done A, B, C, and I don't appreciate it. If you keep on doing that, then I know it's deliberate. Then we have an issue. So after 2 years, I decided to move on. And I ended up on Wall Street.
Okay.
And it was a very difficult transition. You go from a non-forward-looking environment, and on Wall Street...
It's cutthroat.
If you make one mistake, you are gone.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you always knew that.
Oh, yeah. And that really, really disciplined me in my profession.
Okay. How old were you then?
I was still in my 20s.
Okay.
Yeah, I was still in my 20s. From there, I went to work for Prudential Insurance Company. I was there for 8 years.
Wow.
I rose to become a manager there. And then I decided to move on because I became tired.
It became repetitive?
Yeah. But in Prudential, I did my MBA.
Ah, okay.
I did my
At
MBA. In fact, they paid. The good thing about America is this. When you go to school, they have tuition reimbursement program.
Yeah.
So you might end up going to school for free.
Yeah.
So if the opportunity is there, why don't you utilize it? So virtually, I did my MBA for free.
Nice.
But if you don't pass, they will take their money back.
Wow.
Yeah. If you get a C or below, they will take their money back.
What made you decide to come back home? What was going through your mind?
Let me put it this way. I was in America for about 40 years. 4 months to 40 years. And when the opportunity came for me to come and head SIC, I had a long discussion with my family. I had a very good job. There's no two ways about that. With Brown Brothers Harriman, which happens to be a private bank. I was there for 19 years. And I said, if I have to follow money, then I'll never go back home. But in my judgment, I think I can offer a lot to help the country grow. I've been exposed the good, the bad, and the ugly. So when the offer was extended to me by the president, I accepted it. And the rest is history.
What were you looking forward to? What were some of the expectations you had coming back?
Well, in the U.S., I was coming back.
Aside the good food that you're going to eat.
I was coming to Ghana twice a year.
Okay.
At least. I was coming 2 times a year. But most of my trips were for fun. Then when I came in, I started working, there was a little bit culture shock.
What was the culture shock?
I was coming from a structured environment to an environment where a lot of things are different.
How so?
Okay. Back in where I was working, your performance is paramount. If you can't perform, somebody else will come in and do the job. When I came here, you look at sometimes attitude towards work. We have excellent staff. If you want one insurance company that has the depth and breadth of knowledge on insurance, is SIC. But at some point, you can see some lassity in some of the people, the attitude towards work. But when you have conversation with them, sometimes they don't even know that is the feeling out there. But the moment you have conversation with them, come the next day, boom. And last year, for example, our premium income went up.
Wow.
Because, the people worked much harder. This year, the projection is probably will be even better than the previous year. And I give a lot of credit to the staff.
How did you make sure that you were relatable, that they didn't see you as this guy who has come in, who thinks he knows better than us and is just reigning over us?
I don't portray that attitude. The MD position is very powerful. I will be the first person to admit, but don't abuse it. Okay? The moment you abuse it, that is when people see you, they run away. They won't share information with you. I go to the offices and I smile with them, we talk, we laugh. If I have to sit down and eat with them, of course I do. If the unfortunate happens and there's a staff, parent, or child dies, I show up. So I have an open door policy. In fact, every Friday from noon to 5, my office is open for staff to come and talk to me without fear, because I won't reveal what you've told me.
And
but
where did you get that skill
if
from?
you come, from America.
But you didn't do psychology. You're not a therapist.
No.
You're a numbers guy.
Because of all the companies I've worked for, when you have open door policy, communication becomes very efficient. Okay. Then you always close your door. When people see you, MD is coming, they want to hide. No. After you are MD, what next? Seriously. You don't have to. I don't want SIC to be like an animal farm.
What do you believe is your purpose in life?
My purpose is I enjoy life.
No, your purpose in life. Not what you like about life. What do you believe, looking back
I believe in
at everything you've been through?
I believe in discipline and hard work.
Okay.
If you don't have discipline, you cannot work hard. The laissez-faire attitude towards work, if you are that person, you can't work with me. Because when I start A, I want to get to Z before I leave the office. Sometimes you can catch me in the office at 9 p.m. Oh, yes. So attitude towards it's very paramount to me. So if you are supposed to do ABC and I come to you and you give me reasons, I'll have to sit down with you and advise you. Okay? Because an insurance company is a service company. If the clients are not getting the required service, you lose the client. Yeah. You lose the client, you don't get income. If you don't get enough income, you don't get pay raises. So that is the response to your question.
Let's talk about work-life balance.
Oh, Monday to Friday, I'm always busy. I've learned how to play golf.
Did you bring your family back to Ghana with you, or you came on by yourself?
My kids are grown-ups now.
Ah.
In fact, my daughter, my first one is a lawyer.
Okay.
In fact, she just quit her job. She was vice president, Barclays, New York. But she's moved on to Blackstone. It's an investment company.
So she's following your footsteps.
Well, and then my second one just finished her MBA at Stanford University. Nice. She's working for Deloitte. And my third one is an investor of Birmingham doing international law and globalization.
So they are not worried about you as well.
I work alone.
What advice would you give young people who are where you were maybe 40 years ago? You want to do computer science, the door was locked, you had to change your mind and then do something else and then come back to your original plan. What would you tell them?
Well, to the young generation coming, my advice, based on my experience, is always stay focused. Life is hills and valleys. When you are in the valley, consider that to be part of the transformation you are going to go through. Some people get frustrated when the going gets tough. When the going gets tough, that will even make you a better person. And when you achieve your goal, you become satisfied in life. Failure will always come, but never, never give up.
What's next for you?
To be a good manager until my time comes. And then who knows? There could be more opportunities out there. Maybe
to do what exactly?
Maybe, I will go and establish a village within my cocoa farm.
Okay, so you farmers, were you a farmer?
Oh, yeah, I like farming because my grandfather was a farmer. And mostly on long vac, when some of my friends come to Accra to do vacation job, my father asked me, go to Akontomra. You know there?
Yeah.
Akontomra, at that time my father was in Bebiani. And there was no direct course. You have to take a car to Sekibekwai, change the car to go to Asankregwa. From Asankregwa to Enchi, you have to go on a pontoon. The one thing I'm afraid of is water and height.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Water and height. They don't mix. You are on this pontoon, then the Tano River will be blowing you back and forth. Then you get to Enchi, you sleep, and then the next morning take another car to Akontomra. And then you have to walk about 4 miles to the village.
Wow.
If I sit down today and cast my mind back, I think it was one of the best moments in my life.
Why?
Because I experienced the rural areas of the country. Look, Western region is very tough. It rains a lot. But you still have to go and farm.
Yeah.
If you want to wait till the rains stop, you will never be able
hungry.
to farm. Once you get that kind of experience and you add to your metropolitan life, you become whole. Now, none of my kids know how to go to farm. In fact, my second daughter came to Legon for one term. Okay? She called me, Dad, I'm waiting for trotro. I said, what? He said, but other people are taking trotro. So I shut my mouth up. Then I realized that, she was getting to the groove of Ghana. In fact, since I've been here, she's come.
Wow.
She came here with a classmate from Stanford.
Nice.
Last December. I had a big party for them.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Mr.
very much
Stephen
welcome, yeah.
Kwame Oduro, for spending your Friday morning with us. And we can't wait to see what you're going to come up with next. He's the managing director of SIC Insurance. And my key takeaways from the conversation, work hard. Hi guys, I hope you enjoyed this video.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, The City Tube,
for exclusive breakfast daily content and other City TV programs.
like, comment, and share with your friends.